and thank you for surviving for the last 3 hours of lunch and joining this session. I know it has been a long day, so I will make sure to make it short, brief, and straightforward, and valuable as well. So let me start with introducing myself. My name is Dawood. I'm a recruitment product consultant at LinkedIn. My job at LinkedIn, in simple words, is to drive our customer success and make our clients actually more successful in achieving their recruitment objectives and goals. Because this is my job. There's many familiar faces for me today, so I guess I know 80% of you here, as I told you before. So today, actually, I thought I want to share with you some slides and some information on how you can leverage data on LinkedIn Recruiter to drive your recruitment process, to drive even your employer branding process. And since we are a data-driven company, I thought that would be very relevant for you guys to know about what kind of data do we have on LinkedIn Recruiter, how you can use them and utilize them to manage your team, the process itself, and also to prioritize your activities as well. So, again, plan, prioritize, put into practice how you can use LinkedIn data, LinkedIn Recruiter data to do these 3 activities. So, and how you can use data as well to make better hiring and ranking decisions. Okay, first of all, before we start with the slides and with the training, let me share with you some global trends on how companies, or what is the percentage of companies that use data in the recruiting process. We still believe that it's a little bit low because it's 23% of the companies globally that use data in the recruitment process. But there is a big jump actually by 8% since 2012 today, until today. So that companies they use data to drive their recruitment process. My question for you, I actually will ask you a couple of questions. I want you to ask yourself a couple of questions. One of them is, do you use data to drive your recruitment process? How do you measure your recruitment process? And how do you evaluate your recruitment process performance as well? So maybe it's a question for you to ask, and maybe you can take action after today's session. So, another actually insight on some numbers in more details, globally 23% of the companies, they believe that they utilize data to make hiring decisions. 34%, they regularly survey the new hires to understand the brand position as well. So again, another question, do you survey your new hires? Do you ask them on what is the perception of your brand? Do you ask them about their experience or their application experience before they got hired at your company or not? So all of these questions actually will lead to some results, which I will show it to you later on. But I want you just to write these points, or maybe take notes of these points, and ask yourself, ask your organization, do we do this internally or not? Do you measure employer brand as well in a quantifiable way or not? 33% globally, they said yes. So what I will share with you today is how you can use data to set experience with your hiring managers, how you can measure the size of my team pipeline, and of course, how you can identify the most engaged LinkedIn users in my team, and how can I increase my InMail response rate, which is a very important topic when we talk to recruiters on LinkedIn. What is my InMail response rate? How I can increase it? How I can actually improve my InMail performance as well? And the last point is, how can I track the performance of my jobs on LinkedIn? Because I meet a lot of clients, they always ask me how I can improve my jobs, how can I improve the awareness of my job, how I can attract more applicants to my job. So I will show you some techniques, some tools that you can use on LinkedIn Recruiter today to drive more actually traffic, to drive more applicants to your jobs by using data. Okay, great. So the main points we will focus today is on how you can plan your talent pools by identifying your target, how you can prioritize by using our pipeline analysis and understanding where to allocate your resources, how you can put into practice the recruiter usage, the InMail analytics, and the job analytics as well. So we will cover these points mainly today in this session. So plan. So let me give you a very simple example on how you can use LinkedIn Recruiter to plan. Let's say I'm a company in the retail industry, where we operate in the retail industry. And we have a plan in the next 7-8 months to open branches and some operations in a country in the region. And we have the manpower plan in front of us. But do you have the tool to identify if the kind of skills you're looking for are available in that country or not? How would you answer, actually, or how would you identify whether if you need to go and hire local candidates, or you hire locally in general, or if you need to go globally maybe to source these candidates, right? Do you have the tools? Can somebody share with me if there is any tool you guys use today to identify this kind of information? Are you aware of any tool that provides this kind of information globally? No? No tool? Excellent. Actually, the tool is right there in front of you at your desk. It's in LinkedIn Recruiter, basically. LinkedIn Recruiter gives you a great insight on which strategy or which approach you should follow when it comes to hiring and to plan your recruitment process. Whether you want to decide if you want to hire locally or globally, it's there on LinkedIn Recruiter. If you want to decide, shall we hire from this university or that university, the answer is there on LinkedIn Recruiter. How we can help you to achieve this? As you know, LinkedIn Recruiter offers more talent insights. So with 300 million members on LinkedIn Recruiter, the ability to filter by function, geography, and of course, with our real-time updated data, we can help you to achieve this. A very simple example, I'll go back to the retail company example. Let's say you are in the retail company and you want to hire, or you want to know if there is retail managers available in that country within that years of experience, and within, let's say, this set of skills, or with that set of skills. So simply, what you can do, a very simple search on LinkedIn Recruiter. You go to LinkedIn Recruiter, and this is what I would do to set, of course, my hiring managers' expectations. So I can tell them, hey guys, you know what? I don't think it will work if we do some search there, or if we do a campaign in that company. This is what we should do based on these numbers. So simply what I would do, I would go to LinkedIn Recruiter, do a very simple search, like manager job title with retail, or let's say luxury in the job title field. And after doing this search in the keyword field, I would go and use some filters, like United Arab Emirates, and I will show you on the results and how I can drive my campaign or drive my strategy based on these results. And then I would filter also by function, sales, retail, wholesale, whatever I would like to target in the future, and of course, years of experience. After I do all of these research, or all of these functionalities, what I can go and tell my hiring manager, I can tell them, you know what? I guess we can hire from UAE. Why? Because the talent pool of people with a job title of sales manager, retail, or luxury within 10 years of experience based in the UAE is 2,500 something. So I think we should actually focus our campaign in the UAE. We don't need to go out, right? So this is the kind of information you can get out of Recruiter itself. I'm not talking about reports, I'm not talking about anything here. I'm talking about Recruiter, the tool you have today. The other thing you can also use to plan, or also to collect some useful information, as you are aware, we launched a new service or a new platform. It's called ConnectIn. ConnectIn is a platform you use in career events. And the way you use it is basically companies, they use it to capture candidates and talent leads when they go to events. So instead of sitting on your booth, collecting CVs, what we provide you, with this platform where candidates or students or job seekers can come to your booth in the career fair and check in on that platform, and the system will send them automatically to your LinkedIn talent pipeline or LinkedIn Recruiter. So no paperwork anymore. You collect them, you put them into projects, and that actually will save a lot of time. And I know many clients here in the room who used the check-in functionality, and they are very, very successful using it so far. So how check-in actually can also help you to plan. It will help you to plan and know and recognize if these kind of events are useful or not for you. It will tell you, did we really collect the candidates that we wanted to target or not? Was it successful or not? What kind of audience we captured at that event? Are we going to participate in this event next year or no as well? So it will help you to generate more data and identify maybe what are the best options for you next year when it comes to participating in career events or not. So this is another tool you can use also to plan your recruitment process or your recruitment events. My next point will talk about how you can prioritize. Excellent. And before I start with the prioritizing thing, I usually link this with setting clear KPIs and objectives for recruitment teams and for recruitment management as well. So why? Because in this point I will talk about kind of report which we call the talent pipeline analysis. The talent pipeline analysis gives you the ability to generate some data to measure how healthy is your talent pipeline today. And are your team members doing the right thing or not? Are they prioritizing their activities or not? Are they focusing on an area and forgetting another area or not? So how I can use this pipeline analysis? Again, it's on the report section on LinkedIn Recruiter. It's very obvious, it's very clear. There is a link called Reports on LinkedIn Recruiter. Once you click on it, you will find pipeline analysis report. What you can do here, or what you can generate here, the first two things I look at is this number. The first number is, the system is telling me that there is 46,000 candidates on LinkedIn that my candidates have activities on their profiles. So it means whether they viewed their profile, whether they contacted them, uploaded a CV, typed a note, or commented on their profile. So I know at least that there's 46,000 candidates on LinkedIn. My team at least has some activities with them, right? So I know this is the size of my pipeline. And I can tell also the timeline. So you can filter by last 7 days, last 30 days, or last 90 days, let's say. Okay? The other number I usually look at, okay, so this is the size of my pipeline, but what is the status of the candidates here? A good number and a very important number to look at is the size of the candidate, what statuses do they have, the candidates I have here. So for example, this report, it tells me that I have 46,000 candidates in my pipeline, but only 1,962 of them are future prospects for my positions. And I will leave it for you to go today and generate this report and see, and actually judge if this number looks healthy for you or not. If this is enough to achieve your recruitment objectives or not. Okay? So it tells me I have this number of future prospects. Let's say it's a good number. But if then I go and drill deeper into these information, I would see that only 919 of my pipelines are screened, right? So by the way, just to let you know, in the next session, Mohammed will tell you how you can set these statuses and change it. So these statuses are predefined, and you can change the status of each candidate based on what stage of the process are you. So you can tag me, or you can change my status of my profile today to a future prospect. After the first interview, you can change it to first interview, second interview, and so on. So you track the activity. So this number might tell me that, you know what, your team is not focusing on screening candidates. They are collecting candidates, they're putting them into projects, but they're not really screening them, they're not moving them to the next step, right? So this is another number to measure. The third number is, of course, I think it's one of the most important factors here, is the sources I use. On Recruiter, your recruiter or your team can identify what is the source of that candidate. Let's say you are in a conference, you met a candidate in that conference, you went back to your LinkedIn recruiter, you can say, I met John in that conference, or I found John on that website. So you can identify your sources, And you can tag them with that source. And of course here the system will generate you some numbers and statistics on what are the most, let's say, helpful sources for you. Or where do you find your candidates as well. So it's a good way also to re-measure your investment, to reconsider where we should invest more. Shall we invest more in LinkedIn, newspapers, or career events, right? So it's worth looking at these numbers as well. Another thing in the talent pipeline, it will also tell you where your team are focusing on. What are the positions, like the most active positions where they work on. So it tells me here that the manager account management is the most active, let's say, in the last 7 days. And it tells me here that the source end day position, for example, there is 65 candidates in that project, but the 3 of them have activities only. So maybe also it's another red flag. Maybe I need to talk to my users or to talk to my team. Hey guys, I noticed that you have 65 profiles in that project, but it seems like you only contacted the 3 of them. Is there any reason why? Since you shortlisted them, why you're not contacting them, right? So this is another insight you can use. Another thing which I really like as well, it will tell you the most active tags on LinkedIn Recruiter. I guess some of you use tags. Tags are actually, I actually describe them as your own keywords, where you can add them on candidates' profiles. So let's say you talk to me and I told you, you know what, I just finished a French language course, but it's not on my LinkedIn profile, so you can tag me with French language, or with software engineer, or willing to relocate. So you can tag me with specific skills or attributes, let's say. So it will tell you here, the report actually, sorry, okay, so it will tell you what are the most common skills or attributes of your candidates. So these are the most common skills that my candidates have on my LinkedIn talent pipeline. So it will maybe give you an indicator, maybe we need to focus on other areas, or maybe we need to have a bigger or a stronger campaign to attract more people from that kind of skills, right? So another kind of analysis I also recommend is to look at the job analysis on LinkedIn Recruiter. And if you go to job analysis on LinkedIn Recruiter, you will find that the moment you open the page, you will see how many jobs do you have online or you have posted recently, how many people viewed these jobs, how many people applied on these jobs. And this is very basic, to be honest. Like, they are numbers only for me, right? But what I recommend you to look at also, are you targeting the right audience or not? And guess what? You can tell. Because if you go to LinkedIn job analysis, the system will tell you who viewed your jobs. If you are posting a job to target retail sales managers, and then you figure out that most of the people who viewed my jobs are outside of the retail industry, or they are not relevant to what I'm looking for, it means that maybe you're not targeting the right audience, maybe you're not posting the right job description, or maybe you're just sticking to your company jargon and you just posted a very generic job title, or maybe a job title that is not, let's say, common in the market. So maybe you need to reconsider, maybe we need to post it and reconsider the job title and the way we call this job title. Maybe we need to add more relevant keywords to the job description, right? So it will also tell you, can you quickly answer? So this is a question, but it will tell you from which companies they are, the people who viewed your job. So if you can tell that, if you can see that most of the guys who viewed my job, they came from X company, it means that this company actually might be a good source for my positions, or maybe the guys are able to move. So maybe I need to go and be proactive and approach them directly. So this is another indicator. I recommend you to look at these. Maybe if you today come back to your offices or next week, look at your key jobs posted on LinkedIn Recruiter and see who viewed my jobs. Are they the right audience or not? Another kind of also, and this is very important actually, the InMail analytics. So, the only way you contact candidates on LinkedIn Recruiter are by sending them InMails. Unfortunately, in many companies we see companies are not utilizing InMail enough, let's say, or the InMail credits they have enough. The reason why, because sometimes they don't know that they have enough credits, but seriously they have, or maybe because they don't actually generate these reports and they don't monitor the usage. And I will show you, by the way, at the end of this session, how generating reports impact usage and response rate, the fact that you generate reports. So the first thing you can look at when you generate an InMail report is how many InMails your team have sent in the last, let's say, 30 days, 90 days, whatever. So you can tell, is your team reaching out to candidates or not, or to enough candidates or not? This is number one. But what about the response rate? How many people we have approached in the last 30 days? And of course, how many people actually replied to our InMails? Right? So the system will tell you what is the response rate. Are we successfully reaching out to them? Are they replying to us or not? But what if they don't reply to us? What does that mean? Actually, it means two things, or maybe three things. You're not sending the right email, you're not approaching them the right approach, or maybe you're not targeting the right audience as well. But of course, our report will tell you some indicators that maybe will tell you why they're not replying to you. Because there's two other factors actually that control the email response rate. One of them, actually this one, how long have they been in their current position? And I had this conversation with many clients here in the region where they still have a low response rate. But when I look at the report, I found actually that the recruiters, they approach people who have been less than 1 year in their current position. So don't expect them to reply to you, right? So this is one of the actually factors that control the response rate. Maybe you're not approaching the right audience. You're not even maybe looking at the profile and looking at their experience. They just joined the company. How do you expect them to reply to you a job offer, right? So look at these numbers. Always look at these numbers and measure and see, is your team targeting the right audience or not? Also, the same report will tell you from which companies or the companies where they work. So it tells me, for example, that we have approached recently people who work at LinkedIn, Chrysler, and so on. So it tells me, are my team members targeting the right audience or not? Are they aligning with our objectives? Are they aligning with our target or not? Another thing is not on the slide, I really like, it will also tell you what is the most successful template you have used on LinkedIn Recruiter, by the way. You know, on LinkedIn Recruiter, do you use templates? Yeah, you use templates, great. So the system will tell you what was the most successful template you have used recently on LinkedIn Recruiter. Or in another word, what is the template that generated you the highest response rate on LinkedIn Recruiter? So what you can do in this case, let's say Ivana, right? She created a template, she approached 100 candidates, 30 or 40 of them replied to her. I can look at the report and wow, high response rate. I would go and talk to Ivana. Ivana, can you please share with me the template you are using to approach candidates or not? So it was actually generating this report on a team level and on individual level as well. So look, who has the highest response rate, who has the lowest, where we can, and I will talk about this in other slides as well. Excellent. My last point, or actually it talks about how we can put all of these information into practice. Another kind of reports you can also generate on LinkedIn Recruiter is the recruiter usage, which will help you to measure if your team members are performing well on LinkedIn or not. Do they log in? Do they do searches? Do they view enough profiles? And I will share you some other actual stuff. But these points are like uncover users that might need assistance, measure your team overall recruiter performance, know when to start organize your candidates, and a fact that 1 in 2 clients, they regularly access the recruiter report, which is a high percentage in general. But it was actually to generate this report on a monthly basis, at least if you are admin or you are the team lead, generate the report, look who's using it, who's not to be successful. So we can share with you some numbers. So one of the things, as I told you, so you can see how many days logged in, how many searches, how many profiles, and how many InMails sent. And when indicated here, I usually highlight in many cases, and maybe this would be a red flag for you as well, but I think it's a red flag in many cases, where we find that some recruiters, for example, they viewed in the last 30 days 50 profiles, but they sent 150 InMails. You have an idea what does that mean?
They're not checking the profile.
They're not checking the profile. They just do the search, select all, send an InMail. Do you know what harm? How would that harm your brand? It actually harms your brand, because you're bulk InMailing guys. You're not personalizing your InMails, right? So make sure to look at these numbers and be always like careful when it comes to these numbers, because it really matters and it could harm your brand if you don't look at them. So a nice thing about this recruiter usage report is actually all of our reports, you can generate them, you can download them and you can generate them in Excel sheet, and you can communicate it to your team, you can communicate it and do your own intended reports as well. Another fact, 1 in 14 clients, they regularly download the recruiter report data as well. So these are my main 3 points. Before I finish, I would like also to share with you some facts. Now you know the reports you can generate on LinkedIn Recruiter, you know the importance, you know how you use them. I will share with you some facts on the relationship with the consumption of LinkedIn data and, for example, the InMail response rate. So we see a positive correlation between the numbers of reports people generate and the response rate. So you can see here that the more reports our clients generated, the higher response rate they had as well. So this guy, he did 0 in this month reports. His percentage of the response rate was 10%. It went to 18.3% when he started to generate reports. Why is that? Because it just gave him the ability to measure and know what's wrong, what I need to improve as well. Another fact actually related to the number of reports you generate, it also affect the higher impacted average. So you know on LinkedIn, we can tell you how many hires were impacted using LinkedIn Recruiter. We can generate you these reports. So the more reports you generate internally, it will lead you to more or a higher impact rate as well. Okay? Another one is related to jobs. So you can see here the job views per open job. The average actually went up by 21% when they started to generate reports. So it is very important to generate reports. If you can't measure it, you can't manage it. You need to look at your data, check your performance, check your team performance, see if you are targeting the right candidates or not. And of course, the most important thing as well, measure your InMail response rate and your InMail performance on LinkedIn Recruiter. Any questions?
Yes, I have one.
Yep,
I'm quite new to using LinkedIn. We've just had the license. The only way that, researches, analysis, everything is really perfect, really love them. The results also that I get are enormous. You know, you put any form of search and you get a lot of results. You get quite a few candidates. But it is, how do we, contact them? It is only through email. You don't give us their telephone numbers, not even emails. At least we should have access to emails, if not mobile.
Yeah, of course. So thank you for this question.
As a recruiter, as a direct user of LinkedIn for recruiting, I find it very limited.
Thank you for this question. Well, as you know, LinkedIn is a social platform. So this is something we usually highlight to our clients. It's a social platform. It's not a job portal. 80% of the people on LinkedIn, 80% of people on LinkedIn are passive candidates. So they're not really looking for a job actively. But they don't mind if somebody approached them with an email and they reply back. Another way maybe to answer your question, you are on LinkedIn. Would you be happy if we share your contact numbers with others?
Email, yeah. because I am on LinkedIn so that people look at my profile professionally and approach me if they want to hire me.
For some privacy,
email, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, for some privacy actually, let's say matters. People, they don't prefer to share their mobile numbers. So, but again, you still, yeah, of course. Yeah, there is an option if you are the first contact of somebody. Let's say you are connected to me on LinkedIn Recruiter, I am your first connection, you can send me an email directly. It is a valid point. There is many, let's say, ways to work around it.
In a month, we can only send 50 InMails.
Well,
and if you want to send more, then we need to buy them.
Actually, it's more than 50 InMails. The reason why I'm telling you this, because you can send 50 InMails in a month, this is a fact, but you have something called 7 days response guarantee.
Indeed.
So we guarantee you that people will respond in the first 7 days. If they don't respond to you, you will get your credits back, right? But again, I can assure you by numbers that we have a high percentage of response rate here in the region.
Absolutely.
And you don't need everybody to respond to you at the end of the day. So if you get 40, 35% of a response rate, that would be great. So, but again, yeah, please.
Sorry.
I tried headhunting through InMail. It really didn't work. So I then had to post the job. So I posted the job on LinkedIn and I got a wonderful response. Most of them were the same people that I had in my searches, but I just didn't have any way to contact them.
But when you post the job, by the way, I don't know if you noticed, when you post the job, they have the option to share their contact information, so you can see their contact information.
They do. That's what I'm saying. They do.
Okay.
So most of the people
So
don't mind it.
Yeah, this is the idea. We keep it actually for them. We leave it for them. If they would like to share their contact information, they have the option to share it. But if they don't, we can't actually.
As a recruiter, it's limiting to me. It's a limitation for me. I mean, it's kind of confining me only through InMail. For example, I compared it to you with some of the other portals. Let's talk about pay.com. If you take license from pay.com, you have direct access to their CVs. That means their contact details.
Yeah, thank you for highlighting this. Again, as I said in the beginning, we are not a job portal. We are a social media platform. The way recruiters use LinkedIn is totally different than the way we use any other job or online job portal. Even the kind of audience we have on LinkedIn are different, right? So I guess maybe sometimes on LinkedIn you need, like when you use LinkedIn, you need to compromise something for something else. But again, it's not a job portal, so anyway, interesting discussion. I would love actually to give you some tips and hints on how you can increase your InMail response rate, because there is many factors that actually control why people are not responding to your InMail. And I can show you some numbers as well, where some clients here in the region, and maybe some of you actually here in the room, I guess, I know that some of you, has a response rate of 60 or 70% on their InMails, right? So we can talk about this later on. Any other questions related to the data, how to leverage data?
I'd like to add that it's not a question, it's just a statement.
Yeah, please, go ahead.
LinkedIn helped us a lot actually, and we have around 5 portals, Create and others, and we have 4 different agencies, and LinkedIn is the most powerful one out of all of them.
Great, can you explain to us why is that?
I mean, if someone who had just used LinkedIn, it would be a bit difficult for them. But the time you came and explained it to us and had a session, it was really, really easy. Yeah, it was easy to use.
Actually, it's part of the change management programs we have. We believe that to shift from a reactive to a proactive approach is a tough job. But we think once you actually master LinkedIn Recruiter, once you master the way you approach candidates and you know how to approach passive or active candidates using LinkedIn Recruiter, as you said, you will achieve amazing results. Yeah. Any other questions, please? Is that Muhammad?
Yeah. What I wanted to ask you was regarding similar profiles.
The
similar profiles.
Similar profiles.
Okay. I do a lot of headhunting.
Yeah.
And then I have a lot of combination based on the domain which I'm working in or a particular position for. So it requires a lot of combination. So if I get one person I click the similar profiles, I'm not getting the exact results or even similar.
Cool. Thank you for this question. Actually, if you have noticed, if you go to Recruiter and you go to the similar profile, it's still under beta version, so we are still testing it. So this is why you won't see 100% accurate results. But anyway, the way it works, it matches the job title. Like, it heavily depends on the job title of the person you are looking at. Where does he stay or his location, and some keywords of the job description. It's still under beta. This is why you can't see accurate results, but we are working on improving the mechanism and the algorithm behind this. Thank you.